What's up, friends? Kyle Marlette here with Vanishing Ink. I'm here with my good friend Helder Guimaraes, and we're so excited because Helder is not only going to be at Magi Fest this year, but he's also going to be at the session. Helder, thank you so much for taking a moment to spend time with me.
Of course, my pleasure.
So where are you at right now in the world? Because you're always traveling. Where are you at?
I'm always travel, but I'm in LA. I live in Los Angeles, and that's
Okay.
where I am right now. Yeah.
Sweet, man. And so not only, like I said, we're having you at Magi Fest and the session, and at both conventions, you're actually doing a lecture, but you're also doing a workshop that's limited to a small group of people. I think I want to start with that because some people don't know that conventions have workshops sometimes. Like, it's kind of always at the last day of the convention, and it's always, limited to certain people. So for those who don't know what a workshop is, or particularly what your workshop is, can you kind of just fill us in what that is?
Absolutely. So when I conceive something like new, and in this case there are going to be two new things. It's going to be a new lecture and it's going to be a new workshop. Okay, but the lecture, I feel, because the time is limited and it's for a broader range of interests, I can only go further on certain little issues. I can't really go in depth on the things that I work more or I care more. So I have to talk a little bit more for a general crowd, even if everyone is into magic and most people maybe into close-up magic. Not everyone is into the same close-up magic or into the same format. That's why, for example, a lecture for me, it's more you get the feel of what I believe about magic, and you go a little bit inside of my brain. The workshop, I think, in the other hand, is for people who either follow my work or really want to know more about my work. Then they get a sense of what my really interests are in terms of in-depth construction of magic, which is the theme of this workshop concretely. It's about how do I create magic, how do I design magic, how I conceive every routine, what's my process to achieve the final result that I like to present an audience. So that's what the workshop is about, and it's going to be 3 hours of purely in-depth psychology, details, construction, strategies, what is more deceiving in a certain scenario. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I like the workshop more because it ends up being more easy for me to not have to limit myself to a small time, so I can just go.
What also it says is that you can kind of go off topic and just go almost like on a rant and talk about something and continue back.
And I feel in people who are willing to go to the workshop are also in a similar mindset as I am. So it's also easier to connect at that level with everyone. I don't know. I really like doing long formats more than short formats.
Sure. And what's nice about for those like I said who don't know about the workshop is that the workshop is very limited. I believe it's 50 people, maybe. I think
you are talking with the wrong guy.
I know. It's all on the website, but it's limited to a certain amount of people, and which is really cool because not only are you doing 3 hours long and you're really learning in depth, but you're really almost hands-on. It's a small group. It's more like a jam session in a way, and you can kind of people can ask questions more than a lecture, because at the lectures at the conventions it's a bigger room, there's a lot of people, and you don't feel that connection between the
absolutely. And you pointed something that is really true. It's like it's going to be some moments of the workshop is not only going to be about theory or psychology, but it's also going to be hands-on. People can actually grab a deck of cards and go at the same rhythm I'm going in certain motions and understand what I'm trying to say with the psychology and the theory behind it, and that's for me that is a very valuable thing as a teacher, to be able to have that time and that small group to be able to actually go to that level of detail.
Great. And so not only is the lecture new, but not only is the workshop new, but the lecture's new as well. So people have seen you lecture before, they probably haven't seen this, right?
Yes, it's going to be all new stuff in the lecture. Some of things I've been keeping away from magicians, to be honest, for a long time. Not for anything. I like sharing stuff with the community. I've always liked that side. Like many people shared so many things with me over the years that, I'm not like that. But certain things, I know that if I do it at a convention, some magicians that are less ethical will probably gonna start doing it because they are not necessarily hardcore sleight of hand things that require. It's just a small idea or a small concept or anything. And so certain things that I don't remember ever doing it between magicians, and some of those things I'm actually going to be lecturing in, things I do as a professional magician for paying audiences.
Well, not only that, but like as a magician who creates myself, like it's not that I don't want to share all my magic, but also I just like to just have my own stuff too, like, and I'm the only one doing it. But then eventually I do enjoy sharing it with the community.
Yeah, I think that every thing I create has their own like cycle of life, and some cycles I create them and I go like, okay, this is a good routine and I'm proud of it, but also I think it's a more valuable lesson to include this in a lecture than in my professional repertoire. And then there are other routines that I create and I realize, no, wait a minute, this is really good to have in my professional repertoire. So they go there and they stay there for a few years, and then after I realize, okay, like I think it's time to move forward to create something new, then I end up lecturing on them. I love lecturing on things that they are audience proven, that I actually been performing them for a while, and I can attest that for me at least they work, and here is how and why I think they work.
Well, also nicely, as someone who's watching the lecture, now if you're teaching me magic that works, then I know that I can take it and go and perform it, and it's not something that I have to go do a trial test with. You've already done the work for me. So
yes, I also think that is very important in a lecture, that people understand that why certain things work, in this case why they work for me, because they always need to adapt the routine to themselves, and sometimes it's a very easy adapt, sometimes it's a more complex adapt, but I personally like telling or teaching routines that I've worked on, that I've had actually sometimes funny stories with, like, because if you perform a routine a few thousand times, you end up having a lot of really interesting stories and details that you end up adding to the routine. And so like I'm actually going to be teaching a few things that I've been probably using in my repertoire for the last 6 years. Like something like that.
I'm really excited about it. Now, are you like excited about coming? Have you been to Magi Fest or the session before?
I've never been. I've heard great things. I've had a lot of friends that have been over the years talking to me about the session as a great convention. And recently, I've heard about Magi Fest before, but when I got booked, then all of a sudden I have people at the Magic Castle coming to me and going like, oh, you're gonna love it, it's so much fun, it's a great convention, it's a great environment, so I'm really looking forward to that.
I actually haven't, even though I work for Vanishing Inc., I haven't been to the session myself. I think I might be going this year, but Magi Fest for sure is so cool because it's so small and intimate, and like last year, one of our guests of honors was Paul Daniels, and for Paul he was walking up and down the halls, he would pull up chairs at dinner tables and just sit down and just hang out and talk and jam, and it was like to just be able to hang out with all these magicians and jam in the lobby, and like Juan Tamariz is there just blowing minds. It's really cool. It's really fun.
That's awesome.
I think the last question I have for you is there anything that you have that you're working on now that maybe people might not know about that we can look forward to from seeing you? Like, do you have I know you perform a lot and do your one-man show and stuff, and you do you've done TED Talk and stuff like that. Like, is there anything exciting happening that we should look forward to?
There are. The problem with all the things I do is like I prefer to keep them a secret till they are public. So like I'm not a big talker on those, but I've been working on a few different projects. I think the thing that has been more public recently is I've created a publishing company called Half Man, and right now we are working on 3 new releases that will end up in the end of the year and beginning, and I'm kind of supervising all of them.
Cool.
So that's been taking a little bit of my effort and time, which is great because I believe in all of the things we are doing. Performance-wise, I'll have some news. I hope pretty soon to get out, but for now it's still a secret.
Good. Well, I'm excited for you to come to the Magi Fest and the session.
I'm excited too. I think it's going to be awesome.
And I know everybody's looking forward to it too. So, Helder, thank you so much for taking a moment to talk to us about it.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it, and we will see you at the conventions.
See you soon.